What if I told you that the key to understanding complex scientific concepts is hiding right inside the fantastical world of Pokemon? I'm Chuka Obodo, but in this scientific Savari zone, you can call me Professor Baobab. Welcome to episode 12 of Poke A Mon. Which Pokemon will enter Hooper's portal into the scientific dimension this week? Quick disclaimer, this podcast is not affiliated with the Pokemon Company, Game Freak, or Nintendo. I'm here to use the storytelling power of Pokemon to unlock the marvelous mysteries of science. Dive into Frontiers of Pokemon Research, a free ebook that reimagines your favorite Pokemon as subjects of scientific discovery. Is Pikachu's 10 million volt Thunderbolt deadly? Why is Eevee's DNA unstable? How come Mega Charizard X is blue? It's all here. Sign up for my weekly newsletter and I'll send you this exclusive journal to spark your imagination and ignite your curiosity. Don't miss your passport to a world where science and fiction collide. What's up, Science Squad? Professor Baobab here, and if you've ever wondered what artificial intelligence, or AI, will look like in the future, let me escort you to Mirai. What? Oh, Mirai as in Miraidon. It means the future in Japanese. Weak AI, you are here. It doesn't matter how amazing you think ChatGPT is, but I can definitely say it is not only not omniscient, it is also like a toddler compared to the things that strong AI can do. I'll discuss both in this episode, as well as the characteristics of strong AI and how these traits might be conveyed in Miraidon. I will consider the role quantum computers could play in our quest to create the most advanced form of AI comprehensible by humans, artificial super intelligence. Afterwards, I will debunk the Pokédex entries about Miraidon, the legendary paradox Pokemon that appears as the mascot for Pokemon Violet. AI is a transformative technology reshaping the modern world by enabling machines to perform tasks that typically require human intelligence. From recognizing speech and understanding natural language to driving cars and diagnosing diseases, AI has evolved to become an integral part of everyday life. Its applications span many fields, making it one of the most impactful advancements in technology. However, despite its advancements, AI remains largely narrow or weak, designed to perform specific tasks exceptionally well, but lacking the general intelligence and adaptability of humans. In this way, I would agree with certain critics that artificial intelligence, as we currently know it, is completely unintelligent and is more akin to a kind of logical guessing. The journey of AI began in the mid-20th century when researchers developed algorithms capable of solving logical problems and playing games like chess. Early successes, such as IBM's Deep Blue, defeating world chess champion Garry Kasparov in 1997, illustrated AI's literal game-changing potential. However, these systems were highly specialized and incapable of functioning beyond their programming. The true acceleration of AI occurred with the advent of machine learning, a subset of AI that enables systems to learn patterns and make predictions from data. For example, recommendation systems like those used by Netflix and Spotify analyze user preferences to suggest movies or music. Today, AI is embedded in countless technologies. It's rather extraordinary the number of services and technologies we use that employ AI without us even realizing it. In healthcare, AI-powered tools assist in identifying diseases from medical images, such as detecting cancerous tumors on scans. In finance, algorithms help detect fraudulent transactions with greater speed and accuracy than human auditors. In transportation, companies like Tesla and Waymo are advancing self-driving car technology by integrating computer vision, a branch of AI that enables machines to interpret visual data from their surroundings. Virtual assistants like Siri, Alexa, and Google Assistant exemplify how AI has entered homes, enabling users to interact with technology through natural language. Despite these achievements, the current state of AI is limited by its inability to exhibit general intelligence or self-awareness. This is why they are called weak AI. They are weak at being a general intelligence, like human intelligence. Weak AI is comparable to only knowing how to speak English and nothing else. You can deliver the most fluent speeches about nothing at all meaningful. You cannot reason or synthesize new ideas. Meanwhile, you can only speak. So, you don't know how to walk, move your lips, or eat. Systems like ChatGPT can engage in human-like conversation, but I would argue they lack consciousness since they do not inherently know anything. AI today is task-oriented, and it excels in narrowly defined domains, but is unable to transfer learning or adapt to entirely new challenges. The quest for strong AI, or artificial general intelligence, a system capable of performing any intellectual task that a human can, remains an aspiration for researchers. For now, AI is a powerful tool that I recommend everyone learn how to use, but it is far from being the autonomous and all-encompassing intelligence depicted in science fiction. Towards Strong AI is a research paper written by Martin Butts that explains what is effectively holding us back from getting strong AI. He argues that existing AI systems lack the ability to infer, understand, or explain the hidden causes behind the data they process, as they rely heavily on behavioristic methods like deep learning. Human intelligence, by contrast, involves the development of compositional generative predictive models through sensory-motor experiences. This simply means human intelligence is based on our ability to actively engage with our surroundings, which enables us to predict future events, imagine possibilities, and adapt to new challenges. Current AI systems such as neural networks process vast datasets to identify patterns. Neural networks mimic some aspects of the human brain. However, neural networks cannot understand relationships and infer unseen causes because neural networks alone cannot sense the environment. Even a robot only gives the illusion of sensing its environment, as its behavior is ultimately dictated by programming. This explains why weak AI lacks the attention to detail of a human and is perfectly unoriginal. Butts' roadmap towards strong AI is as follows. A strong AI would need to be built on rather than a neural network, a compositional generative predictive model. The paradigm shifts away from the connectedness of disjointed pieces of information to that of causal relationships. A strong AI must learn outside of a coded program and must be able to sense things and move in response. In short, AI must know things like humans do. Even though we know 10 is much larger than 1, we will still get disproportionately upset if we get one negative comment on social media. A strong AI would need to embody biases like these and develop reasoning skills from the ground up. It should even be able to explain its ability to reason. Finally, if we are to give a strong AI a conscience and consciousness, it would have to uphold certain virtues and understand right from wrong. A quantum computer could allow us to create a compositional generative predictive model in little time. A quantum computer is just like your MacBook or smartphone, except for one key difference. Whereas a classical computer, like the one you likely own, uses ones and zeros to work, known as bits, a quantum computer uses ones and zeros in a quantum superposition, known as qubits. In short, you would never know whether a qubit is in the 1 or 0 state until you observe it. This phenomenon of nature allows quantum computers to process many possibilities simultaneously. For reference, a quantum computer can break RSA encryption in a matter of minutes using Shor's algorithm, whereas all the classical supercomputers in the world will take 1 billion years. This reference is for my paid edition of Frontiers of Pokémon Research. Check it out in the description when it's available, likely by the end of next week. A quantum system, like a quantum computer, will naturally be good at simulating a quantum system, like a brain. Technically, everything in the universe obeys the laws of quantum mechanics at a small enough scale. In nature, it is quantum mechanics that might hold the key to understanding how life and consciousness evolve from non-living atoms and molecules. Here's a list of things quantum computers, which have already been invented and showcased by the way, can do. Solve complex optimization problems. Perform machine learning against high-dimensional data. Infer the chemical composition of undiscovered pharmaceuticals, materials, etc. In the near future, quantum computers may likely complement classical computers as opposed to replacing them completely. At the moment, quantum computers typically require large, cold spaces, just like the supercomputers of the late 20th century. However, quantum computers also have these limitations. Qubits are insanely fragile because they are sensitive to superposition events such as constructive and destructive interference. Maintaining so-called qubit quality is difficult. Quantum computers need temperatures far lower than what a supercomputer ever experienced to work. Error rates are still too high to be used for critical tasks like healthcare applications, and specialized algorithms for quantum computing are still in their infancy. Now, let's talk about Miraidon. I'm going to state the Pokédex entry and which game it belongs to. I will then analyze it. Finally, I will render my verdict, deciding whether or not the entry is logical or scientific. The Pokédex entry from Pokémon Scarlet states, "Much remains unknown about this creature. It resembles Cyclizar, but it is far more ruthless and powerful. I will tell you what you need to know about this creature. It's going to be a paradox, so I hope you're prepared. Let me tell you about the AI singularity. According to Ray Kurzweil, the singularity will happen in 2030. It will be a dramatic event like the events in the book of Revelation in the Bible. But what is the singularity? No, I'm not referring to the singularity of a black hole, but it is perhaps just as fascinating. The AI singularity refers to a hypothetical future point where artificial intelligence surpasses human intelligence and enters a state of recursive self-improvement, leading to rapid, unprecedented technological growth. This concept was popularized by mathematician I.J. Good and later expanded upon by others like Ray Kurzweil and Werner Vinge. By definition, a true singularity represents a point beyond which we cannot reliably predict what will happen. By the time AI can develop new AI with the advent of strong AI, or artificial general intelligence, an intelligence explosion coupled with a so-called speed explosion will take place. This means the speed of artificial intelligence will double every time the speed of artificial intelligence doubles. In other words, AI will grow exponentially. Even if it only increased by 10% each time, its intelligence would be infinite within 4 years. Obviously, this doesn't account for quantum mechanical prohibitions, but it still depicts the nature of intelligence of an artificial superintelligence. Such an AI would be able to solve all diseases, world poverty, and climate change. Such an AI would be able to end the human race in a blink of an eye. Thankfully, Miraidon is largely docile and, dare I say, domesticated. Miraidon is an artificial superintelligence. Consider that it can do everything Miraidon can do. It can reason, it can respond to sensory stimulation, it has ethical standards, and it can coordinate parts of its body according to its environment. Unlike Miraidon though, Miraidon is not biological and does not have an organic brain. Also, Miraidon is connected to the other futuristic paradox Pokemon, and none of them have biological bodies or organs. Miraidon is derived from Cyclizar, but so is Miraidon. They are likely born from the same Cyclizar that traveled in time and existed in a superposition of being both in the past and in the future simultaneously. Why have I immediately thrust Miraidon into the position of superintelligence and not just general intelligence? Simply, Miraidon has godlike abilities. In the games, it is seen acting according to the will of his trainer. However, I believe it affected the quantum wave function of several Pokemon caught in Professor Turo's time machine, so only the wave function of those Pokemon which are made of iron would collapse. The only way Miraidon would have been able to do this is by possessing an infinitely powerful quantum computer that can calculate every quantum state in every parallel reality. The explanation for the ancient paradox Pokemon becomes straightforward. Miraidon, being a quantum supercomputer, caused it to happen by a quantum process known as entanglement, whereby two particles separated by space-time can communicate instantly with each other. Thus, Miraidon knows everything that we know and we know nothing it knows, because that would mean we would know more than Miraidon knows we know. This puts the paradox in Paradox Pokemon. Verdict: a paradox. Paradoxes are, by definition, not solvable using known rules of mathematics, philosophy, or logic. The Pokédex entry from Pokemon Violet states, "This seems to be the Iron Serpent mentioned in an old book. The Iron Serpent is said to have turned the land to ash with its lightning." Are you ready for another paradox? Following the events of the DLC for Pokemon Violet, the protagonist sees Professor Turo from the past, who talks about a Pokemon called Iron Serpent. When he realizes the Pokemon by the protagonist's side is the same Iron Serpent, the protagonist tells the Professor Turo from the past that the Pokemon is called Miraidon. However, this Professor Turo is from the past. This means when he finally decides to call the Pokemon Miraidon years later, it was actually the protagonist that named it. However, again, it was through Professor Turo that the protagonist eventually knew the name was Miraidon. This kind of paradox is called a bootstrap paradox, also known as a causal loop or ontological paradox. It describes a situation where an item, information, or in this case a name, has no clear point of origin. The name Miraidon exists in a closed loop of causality. The protagonist learned it from Professor Turo, who learned it from the protagonist, who learned it from Professor Turo, and so on. The term bootstrap paradox comes from the phrase pulling yourself up by your bootstraps, an impossible task that parallels the impossibility of creating something from nothing. The concept was popularized by Robert A. Heinlein's short story, By His Bootstraps, though similar time travel paradoxes appear in earlier works. Such paradoxes raise profound questions about causality, free will, and the nature of time itself. Can information truly exist without a point of origin? If so, what implications does this have for our understanding of cause and effect? As I mentioned at the start of this episode, Mirai means future in Japanese. Therefore, Miraidon's name mirrors the paradoxical nature of his existence as a being that transcends space-time, which is another reason I claim it is an artificial super-intelligence. No other Pokemon, except Dialga and Celebi, and the other Paradox Pokemon, can travel through time. What is most interesting is that Koraidon and Miraidon are possibly, paradoxically, the same Pokemon. I've already mentioned quantum entanglement, but I also mentioned the quantum wave function. The wave function is a mathematical description of the quantum state of an object. Simply, it decides what a particle might be doing with a certain probability. As the name suggests, the state of a particle is mathematically described by some kind of sinusoidal wave curve. A state can therefore be thought of existing in multiple ways at once until its wave function has collapsed into a single, well-defined state. I mentioned how everything behaves according to the laws of quantum mechanics. Of course, single particles are very different from the 7 billion atoms in a human. This is why single particles can sometimes travel through insurmountable boundaries or walls, and humans cannot. However, a reasonably advanced quantum computer could collapse the wave functions of 7 billion atoms in just the right way, all in one instant, to manifest two different Pokemon from the same Pokemon. This concludes my theory on how all Paradox Pokemon came from Miraidon, which ultimately came from a Cyclizar, perhaps belonging to Professor Turo, that got caught in his time machine. Verdict: consistently paradoxical. There are other paradoxes in the Pokemon universe, like Zacian and Zamazenta, so I hope I've done this one justice. Strong AI is coming, and it's closer than you think. Artificial superintelligence might take some time, but quantum computing might be the bottleneck. It'll be interesting. Just like people from the 11th century would think we were all gods compared to them, in the next 1,000 years, we would look back and think of the 20th century like I'm thinking of the 11th century. Artificial superintelligence will surely hold the answer to Paradox Pokemon. I mean, the Pokemon Company probably already knows, but I mean paradoxes in general. I understand this topic was more philosophical than grounded in science, but I hope you enjoyed it nevertheless. Science Challenge! Before our next episode, I want you to do something crazy. Why do you think Miraidon has the ability to boost the strongest stats of the other Paradox Pokemon from the future? Email me your findings, and I might call out your name in the next episode. My email address is chuka1000@hotmail.co.uk. It's also in the show notes. What did you think? Isn't the power of science simply amazing?